Bourbon. Belts. Blockbusters. You are listening to the Triple B Podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. I'm Ryan.
And I'm good old TJ.
And this is the show where we talk about bourbon. We talk about wrestling. We talk about movies, shows, video games, all of the shit that you need to know the news for, because we got the news coming at you.
We got the news.
That was new. We should keep that. We should do that. I like that. Anyways.
And breaking news.
Breaking news.
Bourbon and cocktail of the week is different this week. But why is it different? Because it's King and Queen of the Ring season.
Because of the way life goes in the WWE world.
And we decided to go with the flow.
Yeah.
And we're replicating the King and Queen of the Ring tournament with bourbon. So we've had numerous amounts of bourbon on the show, right? Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
on the show,
53 episodes of bourbon.
And just about an hour ago, we had numerous amounts of bourbons down our hatches.
Check out our socials.
Yeah, you'll see why. Tim and I are both about, in total, probably at least 8 shots deep right now. Yeah. Not counting what's in the glasses. We did the bourbon of the kings. Fuck me.
That's King of the Burbs.
The King of the Burbs tournament to replicate the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. We did 16 bourbons. We did fatal 4-ways for each. We tried each of them. 15 of the 16 were bourbons that we had on the show. We had one mystery bourbon that was not on the show, which
just
ended up
like
being
the King and the Queen of the tournament.
Just like the King of the Queen tournament, where'st Jey Uso is involved. Jey Uso, in our regard, is brown vanilla bean bourbon.
Yeah.
You'll be able to check out our socials and see just what the 16 were that we used, how it all played out, and the 4 that made the semis, which we will be posting next week for the semis. But that means we tried 16 different bourbons today.
And these are some of our losers.
Yeah,
we didn't want to try the winners, obviously. Yes. So, but yes, I got the larceny on my side.
Yeah, you do.
And you got what?
I got the Ben Holiday soft red wheat. That's what I'm sipping on, and emphasis on sipping.
So we're still gonna rank them, okay? Yes. We're still gonna give it a rating. Oh,
yeah, sure, yeah.
But it's gonna be different.
Cheersies.
Cheers. I know we rated larceny really high, and it's still that good for me. I'm gonna go, and I don't know what I don't remember what I rated it before, but I'm gonna go a 9.5.
Shit,
it's that good, and
results may be slightly skewed because of intoxication levels.
But no, it's really good, and that's a testament to what we had in the tournament, right? Because it's not one of our winners.
That's for sure. That is very true.
So 9.5 for me for larceny. What do you got for Ben Holiday over there?
I feel like I remembered the soft red wheat being a higher one.
It was definitely
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Okay. I feel like that's lower than what we had before.
I can't remember.
But I could be wrong.
Again,
results may vary due to intoxication levels.
I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but we have
buzzing around here.
We got something that's giving you guys a heads up of what is happening. But I don't know. I'm going to 8.5. I think that it still stands up as one of the better bourbons that we've had on the show.
8.5 is not a bad score by any means.
Not a bad score in any way, shape, or form. So. You went with a 9.5?
9.5.
I feel like that's higher than we gave larceny.
I don't know. I remember larceny being very high, and
I don't know.
So 9.
I think that's higher. You think this is lower?
I do think it's lower. I don't know,
but this is where we're at right now. So
damn it, I'm gonna have to fact check. going over to our socials. You can find us on Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok. We are at Trippy Pod. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We are the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon Belts and Blockbusters. And you can always shoot us an email at triplebpod619@gmail.com.
Let's get social.
Let's get social. Oh. Thanks for serenading that whole section. But we would love to hear back from any of you. Obviously, give us a like, give us a follow, and tell your friends about us. But give us recommendations on bourbons you would like us to try. Give us questions of the week that you would like us to ask each other.
Or Blockbusters. That brings us over to our weekly fact check. This week, it was moi turn. And I will be honest with you, sticking in suit with what we always do.
Fact check. It was our quickest episode together.
That's true. That was. Yeah, it was like an hour 19, hour 16.
Yeah, it was like hour 16.
Yeah. So yeah, it was our fastest episode that we've done together. Cool. Like that's what we're shooting for, right?
Yeah, we don't want you guys.
It's like that under an hour and a half time, but sometimes we just fucking go. So
it's because he argues with me.
I only got 4 things here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 4 things.
That keeps it clean.
And they're decent ones, too. Like, they were legit things that we were, like, either curious about or things that we legit couldn't remember. So, or didn't know. So, couldn't remember who the name of Goldust's partner at WrestleMania 14. In the mixed bag, as I titled it in the clues for the game match.
I'm still mad about that.
Mark Miro and Sable against Goldust. And we could not remember, but it is Luna Vachon. That's who it was.
Not Marlena.
Luna Vachon. Next up, we also were talking about Freakier Friday because we had the follow-up of all of the movie trailers that came out. And we were just kind of bullshitting about how Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis at the ages they were when the original Freaky Friday came out, which was in 2003. Mm-hmm. Compared to what they are now in Freakier Friday in 2025.
Yeah.
Right? Or, obviously, it hasn't come out yet, but when it does come out in 2025. I think it's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out this September.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, fuck, that's going to be a fact check of itself. Yeah, it's coming out this year. So, to put it in perspective, because we had said that, like, Lindsay Lohan is, right around where Jamie Lee Curtis was at that point. We weren't far off.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we weren't far off. So, I want to put it in perspective here. Freaky Friday came out in 2003.
Okay.
Freakier Friday's coming out in 2025. That's 22 years ago.
Holy shit.
I know, that's fucking crazy. Because it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it is.
Kind of fits my Blockbusters question of the week.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, true. Lindsay Lohan in 2003... So the way I did this was I looked at when the release date was, and I looked at their current age. So I just looked at that gap.
Okay.
I didn't look at like when they filmed it because it's obviously probably the year before.
Yeah.
But I just looked at when it was released to what they are now. So 22 years ago from today, Lindsay Lohan was 16 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, dude.
She's currently, I thought she was at least
38.
18. Wow.
Yeah, she's currently 38. So she was actually playing the appropriate age for the character that she was playing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen very often.
Not a lot.
I think last week I had said...
Especially back then.
Yes, exactly. But I think last week I had kind of guessed that she was probably like late teens, early 20s when she played that character. She was actually 16 years old. So she played she was the perfect age for the character she was playing.
Wow.
Now, this is actually a little bit surprising because Jamie Lee Curtis is currently 66, which means that she was 44 when this movie came out, which means that she was playing a relatively older mom in that movie.
But, I mean, that would make her, 28, 27 math thing?
No, she's currently 66, which means when Freaky Friday came out, she was 44. There's no more math to subtract from that for Jamie Lee Curtis. She was the mom.
Yeah.
22 years ago, she was 44 years
old.
But
Lindsay Lohan was 16. So that's not that old in perspective.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
28.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, 28 when
I
she
see what you're
had the
saying.
kid.
Never mind. I digress and stand corrected.
So yeah, it lines up.
I misled my own self there. Yes, yeah. You're right. Yeah. So she was about 28 when she would have had Lindsay Lohan. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Never mind. So they were only 6 years apart.
Wow.
Lindsay Lohan's 38 when Freakier Friday is going to be coming out. Give or take months. I didn't take into consideration months of when they were born and whatnot. So like she could turn 39 by the time the movie actually comes out. But whatever.
But
right?
Pretty close to what you were talking about.
Right. So it's only 6 years apart, which makes total sense. And then Jamie Lee Curtis is currently 66 playing the grandma. Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you were youngish when you had, and then they had at around the same age.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we're at with that. Neither of us can remember the release date for Alien Earth. You thought it was July. I thought it was August 11th. I was the closest. It is August 12th. I was really fucking close. I said close. August 11th. It's August 12th of this year. And
it's too far away.
Fuck me. Yeah, dude.
It's too far because I'm really excited for that show.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. That was my number one last week.
So, yeah, exactly.
I'm so stoked for that. It looks awesome. And finally, is Wild Robot on the top grossing animated film list?
Okay.
Everything I was able to find was that it's in the top 100 and also in the top 75, but I could not find that it was in the top.
Damn it.
So maybe what you were looking at was like more of like the year or a certain time frame, but what I was talking about for the game last week was of all time. So I don't know exactly how that, like, that's a really broad area for me to try to research to find what you were looking at. I just went with all time because that's what we were referencing.
And I will say it was a quick Google search and it was literally in the AI blurb. So I got it. And I know to not always trust that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that AI blurb said it was in the top 10. So. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got for the fact check this week. It was relatively clean. I mean, I listened to the show twice to try to think if there was anything, but I think there were like 3 different spots throughout where like we questioned something, but then we like fact checked ourselves live.
Yeah.
Not like looking stuff up, but we just remembered what it was that we were talking about.
Yeah. And that brings us to
Belt, son of a bitch. Timmy, what do you want to talk about, dude?
What a week in wrestling.
What a week.
What a week.
It was something interesting, that's for sure.
I will say SmackDown was better than Raw for sure this week, but it was a week. So we got to talk about the
Raw wasn't bad.
No.
I want to point that out. Like, SmackDown took it. Like, SmackDown took the weekly championship, but Raw was still fucking solid. Like, we didn't have a like fucking snoozer of an episode this week, which was nice.
And it's so easy to do post PLE, right? You just have
you have so much fallout and things to address on both shows that it makes it a little easier. Yeah,
but
that's true.
This week was fun in wrestling,
yeah,
so
it was good.
We got to talk about that opening of Raw.
Yeah, we do.
We're getting, we talked about who Cena needs to face going in, into his retirement, right? We called Randy Orton. We wanted him to face.
Happened early.
That happened.
Yeah.
What do we got next? CM Punk.
That's probably
the summer of Punk.
At least the number 2, if not the number 1 that we talked about happening. Yeah.
And I got to say, the Raw interaction was great. SmackDown was even better. We'll get to that.
Get to it.
I'm glad you're talking about it. But we're getting Cena and Punk at Night of Champions.
In 2025.
In 2025.
Like legitimately, 7 years ago, this wasn't even a fathomable thing.
No.
in any way, shape, or form because CM Punk wasn't wrestling.
No.
He was away from wrestling. His career was over.
Cena was starting to transition out.
I mean, 7 years ago, he was out.
Yeah.
Really. Like, that was one of our things that we talked about a couple, few episodes ago now, was that it was like between 15 to 18 was kind of when he started to dwindle, right? So it was like 2017, 2018, he was gone, essentially. Like, he was no longer full-time. So to be sitting in 2025 and be like, we're getting a fucking, which I'm assuming will be the main event of Night of Champions.
It better be.
It fucking needs to be.
Yeah.
That we're getting a potential, hopeful main event of John Cena versus CM Punk.
And they didn't...
Just end your retirement tour then.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else.
Exactly.
Who the fuck else do you need to face, Cena?
And...
Hunter coming out of retirement?
Exactly.
I doubt it. We don't want him to die in the middle of the ring.
No, please no.
Yeah.
Please no.
Who the fuck else? You can't resurrect Eddie.
No.
Or Angle. Well, you don't have to resurrect Angle. Angle's still alive, but you don't have to do, we're not going to resurrect Angle's career.
Yeah.
He's gone on record saying that he's not wrestling anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like Punk. You can't poach Edge back from AEW.
Nope.
Punk's the one that makes the most sense. Just fucking end it here. But anyways.
Yeah.
I digress.
The War of Words is already on. Early on in Raw. When these two get in the ring, it's just...
It was the title of our episode last week.
Yeah.
I almost said year. Last week.
Yep.
I'm gonna pick the bones, you bitch.
Yep.
Right? That was Punk at Cena. Before we even got the face-to-face.
That's the episode name this week. To beat a monster, I gotta become a monster.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because there's been multiple times where Punk has kind of planted this seed towards Cena. Multiple times.
Yeah.
And now we actually fucking got it on Raw.
Exactly. And when Cena came out Monday, it felt different. It felt like a different heel version, and it was something that was different and much needed for this heel run.
Yeah.
It's not like the amazing Elimination Chamber turn, but this was definitely the step in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, because he's leaning more into the... he's kind of laughing and smiling at all the bullshit instead of just letting it get to him and screaming at the fans, right?
Yes.
Now he's kind of leaning into it, and he's taking the shit that they're giving him and he's playing into it, which feels so much better.
Yeah.
Than just the fucking couple months worth of just coming out and berating the fan base.
Yeah.
We didn't get that almost really at all.
No.
Between both episodes this week.
No.
A little bit, but to the point where it was and then went into the other.
Because a good heel will speak some truth, right? You can relate to it, but still hate him for saying it, right?
Interesting use of words there, Tim.
Yes. And so that's where I got that. And then Cena adding the whole... If you want a title shot, you got to follow me to Saudi, which was a jab at Punk on Twitter. When he was away from WWE, he was very against WWE during that time, and he was
for sure,
essentially saying,
and they rightfully so.
Yeah, you're only going over there for blood money.
They treated him like shit.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean? There's so much just truth and just interlying of all this whole web that has been spun over the last fucking 15 years now of shit that has led to where we're at that they're able to pull from and just make it so much more intriguing.
Yeah. And so just him pulling that jab at, you got to follow me to Saudi for that was perfect. And I'm super excited. This is probably the most excited I've been from Cena's heel turn for this feud, and and
like I said, I was so excited for the Orton Cena,
but it was too quick. I think
way too early.
It was
and I
too
said
early.
That I made
you
that
did
very,
say it,
I made that very
I disagreed with you at the time.
I was it's way too early for that caliber of a match to happen in this heel run.
Yeah,
he needs to hit some other shit. It should have been. It should have been Cody to start with, sure, because that's how it all started.
Yeah.
Right? That made sense. But then it should have been
R-Truth.
It should have been fucking R-Truth. It should have been Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Right? It should have been a handful of these other dudes that are like trying to, but also are not like at that level yet
Yeah.
that you can like believe that Cena's beating before it gets to these like legit fucking dudes.
Like his
Orton,
biggest feud.
Punk. Yeah, exactly.
His
Cody
biggest
again.
feuds. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so that's where I still stand on that, where I'm like, I don't like how the whole Orton thing went down, but
I feel
we'll get to that.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like this is leading to a multi-man match with everyone.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
All right.
We'll get to it. What do we got?
Next up, Ron Killings or R-Truth?
Ron R-Truth Killings.
Yeah, Ron the Truth Killings.
Ron the Truth Killings. Ron the Hairless Truth Killings.
I'm here for it, dude.
Yeah.
He comes
Ron,
out.
kill your dreadlocks Killings. Truth.
That's commitment, man.
Truth, the killings of your hair. Ron.
And I wish I
There's
had
a lot of
hair,
names.
so, you know.
The
Anywho,
fact that how much did that hurt you that he just cut it off willy-nilly?
and I'm just like, I need hair, and you're just cutting
You're
it
just-
off
you're just
willy-nilly.
cutting your shit off like no big deal. And I'm over here bald.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
But we digress because
Yes.
this was a really cool segment because we got at Money in the Bank R-Truth coming back, or so we thought. But then on Monday Night Raw, he's like very serious.
It was like,
He's not the funny guy anymore.
yeah, but it was just very honest. It felt
It really was,
right?
'cause
Like
it
he-
felt like a pipe bomb in its
Yeah,
own,
it
because he was
just-
like,
it was like they were just like, dude, go cook.
because
And he
Triple
just
H
fucking
at the
went for it.
post show says this is all part of the show.
Yeah.
But what R-Truth, Ron Killing, said on Raw was the opposite. It was, you guys brought me back.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
and it felt real. And it was really good. I was sucked into it, and I'm here for it because he's such a good part of WWE. Like, he's been
And he
such
has
a
been
trooper
for fucking
for
30 years
and years
almost.
and years.
26 years. It was
And-
99, I think. I'm pretty sure. I want to say it was 99 was when he
Okay.
first signed with WWE, WWF at that point.
Yeah.
And so it's been 26 years at almost, or at least, and he's been such a fucking just awesome part, minus the short stint he did in TNA.
Yeah.
And where he did go by Ron Killings, right? And it's just, he's been such an important part of just everything.
He's made us laugh.
And
He's
there's-
made
I-
multiple characters
I
break
don't know
character.
that, and like obviously I'm wrong here because there's certain people of the world that are just fucking idiots, but I would be like, I just feel like you would be fucking really hard to find someone that's just like, fuck R-Truth.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because he's just that character that you're just like, fuck yeah, man, I could get behind you when
Yeah.
you're being fucking silly as shit, or now when you're serious as shit. Like, we're here for it, man. That's why the fan base was loud. And whether it was a part of the show or it was the fan base, like, the fan base played a part in this.
And I will say this feels like the most like the fan outcry for him was the most out of, we've always had a lot of, contract ending or releases every year, and there's a lot of like big names that come up and we're like, oh shit. But I think the crowd was very adamant about Truth in this one.
Yeah. Like, this was, I feel, and this is probably a little bit of recency bias here, but I feel like the crowd was more like involved in this than they were when CM Punk left.
Oh yeah.
Now, I know like they chanted CM Punk for fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? But this was like almost overwhelmingly to the point of like them booming Dom, to the point where it was like it was fucking up promos because of how much they were chanting "We Want Truth,"
Yeah.
and matches, and it had nothing to do with Cena.
No.
Like, they were chanting that during Becky and Lyra at Money in the Bank. They were chanting that during the fucking Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, the Fatal 4-Way for Queen of the Ring last week, right? Like, they were chanting it, like, constantly.
Yeah.
So.
Which is great, because I was like, because one of the most Bray Wyatt got released.
Yeah.
That was a big release, and I was
for sure
heard about that, but the crowd was not behind that as much as they were with True. So it's great to see him back. I like the change of character, and I don't know if you'll talk about it, but it carried over to SmackDown, and I thought it was a great part of SmackDown.
Yeah.
Next up, Sami Zayn wins his qualifier for the King of the Ring tournament, and I actually was shocked that he won just because of Braun Breaker was in the match. I could have easily seen it going to him or Penta. Those were the two that I thought were going to win the match.
Yeah, for sure.
But then we've talked about this.
Because who else was it? It was Dom,
Sammy, Braun, and Penta.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, but we've talked about this where we're like, and I've specifically mentioned, what if Sammy has all these like moments where he gets the title shot, but comes, like the Seth group causes him it. Yeah. He's got his next round into the King of the Ring. He could have that shot at SummerSlam now. What if shenanigans goes down and the next chance is, Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
It's almost playing into what we want to happen leading to next year's WrestleMania. And I was shocked, but I'm super happy for Sami Zayn because he's going on, and there's that potential that at Night of Champions, he could be King of the Ring.
Yeah.
And going for that title shot.
Like, I knew that Braun wasn't going to win because it wouldn't really make sense for the whole faction. And the fact
would not.
And the fact that Seth won the Money in the Bank, right?
True.
Because then you'd be like, you have Seth as Money in the Bank, but then you'd have Braun going to the quarterfinals or the semifinals, of King of the Ring, of who of which the winner gets a title shot. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't really make sense, right? Penta, I think, made the most sense to me. Dom going doesn't make sense because he's the IC. So that is like both those things. I 100% thought Penta was winning this.
I did not. I put Sammy at the bottom of the list of winning.
Exactly, because of just the interactions with everything. So I thought he was going to get fucked. Yeah. I thought he was going to get screwed over 100%. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get LA Knight just be like, fuck you, motherfucker. And he attacked.
The coolest part.
Yeah, it was so cool because it
fits the story.
And it was 100% unexpected.
It was
one of those things where okay, I can't say 100% unexpected because I'm sure there are people that did. But if you're like, I don't know, I just felt like them attacking who all they attacked was just like a lead up to Money in the Bank. I didn't feel like there was a ton of leftover meat from that, right? Like, I felt like it was just more kind of like leading up to Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So then the fact that LA Knight carried that shit over into Monday Night Raw, a show that he's not on, I was like, oh, fuck, that was actually refreshing. And that was oh, holy shit. Like, LA Knight is here from SmackDown to continue this bullshit that happened 2 days ago, last week, like, all sorts of stuff. Like, they're actually continuing the storyline. I like that.
I do, too.
And so I was like, oh, fuck. And then when it was, like, really boiled out, I was like, oh my God, are they going to do this? Holy fucking shit, they gave it to Sammy. Sammy fucking won. I was like, oh my God. And then, we'll get to it. But I was just like, fuck, why are they on the same side of the bracket? That was kind of what I thought in my mind.
Yeah, agreed. But it's refreshing for sure. And the only thing I will say is a qualm about this is all these, like the Money in the Bank qualifiers are triple threat matches. These King and Queen of the matches are fatal 4-way. There's no DQ in those matches, and they don't come until the end of the match. Like, change it up a little. Like, every single match, it's always at the end of the match where interference happens or weapons or anything. It's just like, This match, the whole time is no DQ, and you wait till the last second.
I will give the kudos where it's due to the match on SmackDown that we'll get to.
Yeah.
Because that almost exactly counters exactly what you're saying. I agree with you.
No, I agree with
I agree with
SmackDown.
you. I agree with you. You don't agree with me. I agree with you. Okay? You
agree with each
You don't
other.
argue with me. I agree with you. Anyways.
And last point, and unfortunately the worst point is
fuck. Why you end with the bad shit?
Jay versus Gunther. I hate it. I hate it.
It was fucking stupid.
I don't like it at all.
No,
and
it makes no sense.
I'm a huge proponent of Gunther. I love the guy. I'm an advocate for him, but taking the title off of Jay this early, especially what's happened quickly after with the Seth Rollins match, with just everything, the crowd is behind Jay. Like, he's one of the most over stars ever.
Yeah.
And you take the title, and if the rumors are true, if this is just to get a title match to Goldberg for his retirement, that pisses me off.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's not going to fucking win.
They're not going to give the title to Goldberg.
It makes no sense. It makes zero sense.
Goldberg
at all.
does not deserve the title.
It was bullshit. And even the way the actual physical match played out towards the end was fucking annoying.
This deserved interference, to be honest, and I would have been pissed.
Yeah,
either way.
But it did, though. Like, for it to end the way that it ended, and I'm sorry, but the whole, like, they never should have fucking had Jay win by fucking submission.
No.
At WrestleMania in the first place. That didn't make sense in and of itself, because Jay's never fucking been a submission specialist.
No.
So how the fuck does it make sense that all of a sudden he locks in the sleeper hold for the first time in his fucking career and wins the title? And then you have this back and forth fucking sleeper hold fucking bullshit. It made no sense that they just both kept all of a sudden, oh, they're in it. Now they're out of it. And then they're reversing it. No, they're in it again. It was like 10 straight minutes of just reversals of fucking sleeper holds.
Yeah.
And then eventually it was like, 3 elbows to the face, and then you got him. Yeah. I don't know. It just, like, it wasn't, it was like it felt like they were trying to set up a similar thing to, like, Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And it just in no way, shape, or form came across well.
Definitely not.
And the fact that you, like, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, that match, and now I'm sure there's nobody in the company that's like, oh yeah, that's what we were going for. Yeah. But it just kind of felt like that, and as just a fan. But it also is like, that match was so pinnacle in so many things, because that was Bret Hart in the midst of this match going from face to heel, Stone Cold going from heel to face, and Stone Cold literally becoming, from that match, the future of the company for the next fucking 8 years. Yeah. Right? Because that was in like 96, 97.
Yeah. 97.
Yeah, 97, right? So then, until 2004 when he retired? 2003?
2003.
So, yeah, six years. Yeah. Right?
But the biggest years of wrestling.
Exactly, right? It was the Attitude Era, which of what, like, Stone Cold fucking spearheaded.
Yes.
We're not there with this. No. That's not the same thing, and maybe I'm off base to compare it to that, but it felt like that's what they were like the type of match outcome, at least, that they were trying to get at. Yeah, that made no sense. To have Gunther win the title back. No, makes no sense at all.
I definitely thought there was going to be cash-in shenanigans with this match.
Yeah,
or something.
It was just fucking clean and boring. I think that's the biggest issue for me, is that the fact that it was fucking boring.
I will say this is I thought this was their best match.
I agree with you. But I think it was their best actual technical match.
Was boring.
Storyline,
sure.
But the storyline wise, it was boring.
Yes.
It was so boring, because there was nothing like, oh my God, Gunther just won.
Yeah.
Why? What does this do? What is this pushing towards? And if it is what you're thinking, which I think everyone's thinking, is a fucking Goldberg versus Gunther fuck Goldberg.
No, he does not deserve a title
30
match.
years past any fucking sort of relevancy. Nobody gives a flying fuck about Goldberg. This is not the same idea as John Cena having a fucking farewell tour.
No.
Nobody cares about Goldberg. The last time Goldberg wrestled, nobody gave a fuck because it wasn't good and he hurt himself.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about Goldberg. So why the fuck are we doing this?
Yeah.
It's fucking annoying. I agree 100%.
No sense.
I hate it. It makes no sense.
I was very upset when I saw it, and it just, what is this even, like, we know Gunther's gonna beat Goldberg. Like, so what's the story beyond that? Like, Jay has all these paths to go down as champion.
Yeah.
And they just chop that.
Yep.
I don't get it. And I hated it. And you know me, I'm not a big hater of things. I'll give some qualms here and there, but I usually go with the flow and respect what they do over here. And I'm hating it.
Yes.
I'm hating it.
And rightfully so. It's fucking stupid.
And it was surprising. It was for sure surprising.
Yeah, it was shocking, but in the worst possible way.
Yes.
And then to turn around and put Jay into the fucking King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah,
it's just like he literally just lost the world title and now he's the surprise. Like, if we go by any other standard of which you and me feel, typically is like, oh, they just lost. Why is Liv Morgan in the fucking Queen of the Ring tournament when she just lost a fucking match?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Now, she lost, right? So it's like, okay, whatever. But still, like, why is she granted this opportunity, right? Like, when they just lost a match.
100%.
So it's like, now, do I think Jay should be in this? Absolutely, 100%. But do I think he should have dropped the title in the first place? No. In no way, shape, or form. So it really causes fans to be, like, contradicting to their own thoughts.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a good thing.
No. And it's just...
Bar none... No one holds a candle to Jey Uso.
All right. That's enough negativity. We're going over to the great show of the
Paul
week.
Levesque.
Ryan,
Sorry, I fucked up.
What do you got to talk about?
What I have to talk about is SmackDown. That's what I got this week. We're talking about the old SmackDown. First thing I want to talk about, dog, is the whole first hour of the fucking show. Like, literally the whole first fucking hour. So we start with Cena. He's talking. He's doing his shit. Right? Then Cody's music hits. You get Cody out. And at first, I was like, I mean, all right. Like, at first, literally, I was kind of like, we've seen it. You know, like, here comes Cody. I get what Cody's doing. He's like, oh, you think like no one deserves this type of thing, whatever. Like, I was kind of cheated out of this the whole time. Like, I get that. But we've also seen Cena Cody on this retirement tour.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you hear Orton's music hit. And I was like, okay, we've seen that. But this is an added wrinkle. This is a little interesting. Right? And then Orton comes out. And then Orton and Cody go face to face a little bit. Like, Orton's just pretty much saying, like, I don't give a fuck who I have to go through. I'm going to go through you if that means I got to get to that number 15 title. He doesn't care who holds the title. He doesn't care who he's got to go through. Doesn't matter to him. He's gunning for 15. And then, which I thought was the coolest part of this entire thing, and I thought was the best part of this entire thing, was you hear fucking LA Knight's motherfucking music hit, and LA Knight comes out, who can stand toe-to-toe with any individual on the motherfucking roster on the mic.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He was one that you wanted him to face in his retirement tour, 100% correct?
Did. I thought
it would have been great. I think we picked three, right? Yep. And we both said CM Punk and Randy Orton, and you said LA Knight.
Yes. And this just planted the seeds for that.
Yes, it did.
Right? And I think that's fucking wonderful. Now, do I think that it should come after Orton and Punk? Probably not, but I still love it nonetheless. The fact that we got, because originally I was like, fuck, we're just going to get another fucking face-off between Cody and Cena again. We've gotten how many times now over the last few months. But this just added more to it. It added wrinkles to it. It added more people to it. It added layers. And then it also set up the first match of the night, which was the very first King of the Ring qualifying match, which was LA Knight, Randy Orton, Fuck me.
Carmelo Hayes,
Carmelo
and Aleister Black.
and Aleister, yeah, Black. And I was like, who the fuck's the fourth? And because Aleister Black came out last, right? Because Orton was already out there, LA Knight was already out there. Here comes Melo, and then I was just like, who the fuck's the fourth? And here, Aleister Black's music hits, and his little paragraph thing pops up on the screen, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, I said this out loud. I was like, I'm gonna have to pause this because I walked back to go to the bathroom as his music hit. And then we were getting ready to do dinner. Mm-hmm. And we don't watch TV or anything during dinner. So I was just like, I'm going to have to pause this match because I got to watch this shit because this is going to be a fucking killer match. Mm-hmm. And this is still one talking point. The whole first hour of the show. That match was fucking awesome.
It was so
that
good.
match was so good. The amount of fucking like finisher attempts and reversals into things because 3 of the 4 have quick hitting finishers. Right, RKO, the BFT, and the fucking Black
Fade
Mass.
to Black, yeah.
Or, no, Black Mass.
Black Mass, yeah,
Black Mass is the spinning kick, right? And they're all so fucking quick hitters that it was like one goes for one and then moves and then ducks out of the way of the other, and then somebody else goes for something and moves, and it was just like, oh fuck, man. And then Carmelo's Carmelo. He's an in-ring chameleon, dude. He can just fucking make
with
shit
anyone.
Work with everything. And this was camera-wise one of the best RKOs out of nowhere to finish a fucking match, dude. It was set up so well. Now, I will admit, and I will also recognize, if you were in the building, it was less impressive.
Yeah.
Because you watched Orton get in the ring and then stand there and you watched Carmelo Hayes look at him in the ring before he jumped. But watching at home, because that's just a small sample of people, right?
Yeah.
So watching at home, which is arguably what
Millions.
the show is
and
what the show is set up for, is to be watched at home.
Yeah.
Right? It's the camera angles and everything that they do are so intricate and so specific. Having the close-up of Carmelo Hayes looking around like, fuck yeah, I'm about to win this, bitch, let's go. Thank you, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And then he fucking sets up and he jumps into midair. You see his face change. And then it cuts to Orton just standing in the ring and fucking catching the RKO. I was like, oh, that was fucking awesome. I rewatched it like 5 times. I showed it to Lindsay twice. I was like, you gotta watch this, how fucking dope this is. She didn't get it. But
I would have.
She doesn't care, and I get that.
Lindsay,
and
I would have
that, and that's appreciated. But the fact that she let me show it to her twice was still just, I loved it. It was awesome. The whole first fucking hour of the show was amazing.
The whole show was
dope.
was fucking amazing.
It really was great.
From front to back, loved SmackDown. But yes, I was cheesing through the whole promo. Like, SmackDown had by far just promo after everyone had a great promo going on SmackDown.
Almost every match. I think every match was solid.
Yeah,
there was one I think where I could have. I was kind of like, and I think we're probably on the same page about it.
I think,
and it was the one with the regular person that I can't fucking stand to see in the ring, but. The outcome of it was what I predicted last week, so I was good with that portion of it. But other than that, the whole show was fucking solid.
Yeah, I was here for the Cody Rhodes, and to your point, I was like, we've seen this before, and then Randy came out, and I didn't even look that closely at the brackets. I didn't know he was coming back. And,
he didn't come out,
and
he was already out there. Him and LA Knight were already out there.
Randy Orton?
Yeah, because it was that match happened literally directly after.
But I mean, like his promo, like he came out to his song and everything. The crowd was singing along with him.
Right before the match?
Yeah, the promo, leading up to the promo with Cena.
Yeah, the promo with Cena. Yeah, he came out to his music.
Yeah, but I didn't know Randy was back. Coming out to the promo,
I misunderstood you. I thought you were talking about the match.
No,
I was like, he was already out there. He didn't come. He didn't go back and come back out.
I'm talking about the promo, and I was just like, oh, Randy's back. Yeah, and I was shocked.
No, I know. Like I was just sitting there watching it, and then it was. I was like, fuck yeah! Here comes Orton. Let's go.
But I didn't know he was in the tournament, and then
I didn't know he was in the tournament.
And then just his promo against Cena was great, and then him again
against Cody.
planting seeds
Yeah.
with Cody. And I'm like, not yet. I don't want them yet because that's my overarching is like legacy versus legend killer, you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't want it yet. But I really like this promo. And then
I feel
LA
like you're
Knight,
going to be disappointed
I'm sure.
because I feel like that's going to be the finals of the King of the Ring.
Yes, and
I don't even know who the fourth person is yet.
You don't
that's gonna
even
face
need him.
Cody, but I feel like unfortunately that's probably going to be the finals as Orton. Versus
Exactly.
Cody.
That's why I was thinking
Yeah.
it. But then LA Knight came out and just closed the promo, and I was just like, hell yes. He fed into how fans were disappointed that he didn't win Money in the Bank, and just kept going. And then the bald-headed comment was just like, "Ouch! It hurts a fellow balding person." But it was so good, and then just the way they just blend right into the opening match of the show is so good.
It was perfect.
It really was. It was. I was like, I wrote down, this is one of the hottest openings.
Oh my god, yeah, for
In a
sure.
long,
That's
long,
why I
long
literally
time.
wrote, like my talking point was legit. The first hour of the show
Yeah.
was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But that leads me into the second point, and it's kind of bouncing right along with the first point. Mm-hmm. And I then wrote Punk Cena and R-Truth. Right? We get Cena back out, calling out R-Truth, because at the end of that first segment that we just talked about, Cena kind of was like, fuck you guys to LA Knight, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes, and he walked up the ramp just to get attacked by Ron Killings. Right? Gets attacked
Or R-Truth.
once again.
I'm confused.
Either way.
Anywho.
Ron the Killing's truth. He gets attacked at the top of the ramp. They get separated, blah, blah, blah. Orton then you see, or sorry, not Orton, Cena, you see backstage confronting Jimmy Uso, which I still love the inclusion of this because of R-Truth's long-running gag of the little Jimmy.
Yep.
And they keep using Jimmy Uso now.
I love it.
It's fantastic. But you get them talking. He's like, have you seen R-Truth? He's like, no, I haven't seen him. He's like, have you seen Ron Killings? He goes, no, I haven't seen either of them. Which is fucking great. Because they just like play into just the kind of still the comedic side of R-Truth, right?
Yep.
And then you get Cena coming out to his music again, which like I was like, wait, what the fuck? Because I was kind of doing dishes, and then his music hit again, and I was like, did the show just restart? I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, oh no, here comes Cena like sprinting to the fucking ring, slides in, grabs the mic, and then he starts fucking going at it, calling it out, trying to get R-Truth out, and says something about, like, Truth, you better get out here, blah blah blah. Fucking cult of personality. And I was like, because I thought that was gonna be when Cena left the ring in the opening segment.
Yeah.
When he like left the ring and was like, fuck you guys. I was like, okay, here comes Punk. Punk's gonna come out and confront him on the ramp, and now Cena's gonna be kind of cornered by these other three and Punk. And that's not what happened.
Nope.
So I was like, oh fuck, Punk's not here. Then his music hit, and I was like, oh my god, this show is amazing. And here comes Punk, and motherfucker, what a goddamn promo we got.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Lord, Punk fucking once again just rips into Cena in so many different ways. What do I sound like? I want to have that stricken from the record because I sound like a PG era John Cena. But what do you sound like? You sound like CM Punk. And it was just like, oh my God. It was so good.
And then he fed in right into the his remarks about going to Saudi. I'll follow you anywhere to get that title and whatnot, and I'll follow you to hell, etc.
The whole thing was fucking perfect.
It was so
absolutely fantastic. And then you get CM Punk hopping out of the ring, shoulder checking him, right? Gets out, is walking away, and then you hear the crowd start going crazy, and you're like, oh, here it comes. And R-Truth attacks him again. Twice in one night, you get R-Truth attacking John Cena. But then that wasn't it. You had Punk come back on the mic and say the truth hurts.
It was so good.
It was all fucking gold. It was so good. It was awesome. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
I absolutely
loved SmackDown, and especially what John Cena was doing and all the
Absolutely.
weaving of everyone. That's why I'm thinking it's got to end in like this multi-man match because there's so much intricacies.
So many people that Cena has now, and it all makes sense. That's the thing is like he screwed Cody. He screwed Orton. He screwed R-Truth. R-Truth has now screwed him. He's called out Punk. Punk has called out him. Where is this ending? I don't know.
It's so good.
But I love it. It's awesome.
I feel I'm honestly feel like this is going to end in Cena winning 18. I do. I think he's going to lose the title but win it back.
Yeah. I mean, he could.
That's
he could,
how I feel. After this night, I was like, oh, damn, he's going to lose it, but win it.
Yeah. All right, that brings me to my next talking point here, which is a relatively quick one, but it's just the Wyatt Six music. We haven't really talked about that much on the show, and I really just wanted to shed some light on it. How fucking perfect it is for the group, the emotions of just what the group stands for and the legacy of Bray Wyatt. How it starts, how it gets into it, how it kind of flows to the middle, and how it just kind of culminates, and everything is just so emotional. It's great. And I don't think I've really taken the amount of time to just like really fucking chill and listen to it until last night on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, fuck, dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of the best current themes.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought this when Bray came out to it, especially when he first came out on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Post return, and I was just like, damn, this like it just hits for his character.
It's so good.
And it's so it feels personal and whatnot. But then you follow it up with this group coming out to it. It does.
And what the group stands for.
Yes, exactly.
It's a perfect carryover. It's a perfect continuance. It's everything they're doing with it right now, I think, is great. And that leads me into the fact that the match was a great match.
Yeah.
Too. Fucking Motor City Machine Guns against Joe Gacy and I always
Dexter
forget,
Lumis.
Thank you, Dexter.
Yeah.
I always forget Dexter Lumis. I cannot remember his name.
Sexy Dexty.
Yeah. But the match was awesome. Like, I feel like that was probably expected. I don't feel like it was really like a oh my god, this was unexpectedly good. Like,
yeah, it almost
Joe
got
Gacy
outshined on
Loomis
them
is really
on the
good.
show because of how other things just outperform. But
yeah,
it was
but
still
like,
a solid
if
match.
This match would have happened on any other SmackDowns for the last
it would
2
have been
months.
a banger.
It would have been like, oh my god, But it was the whole show was so fucking good that it kind of did get overlooked, right? It was easy to kind of forget, but that's kind of partly why I wanted to put it on here. It was just because I thought it was really good, and I liked the fact that you don't really have like a face and a heel in this match.
No,
right? Like,
no.
I guess you could argue that Motor City Machine Guns are the face and the Wyatt Six are the heel because they're kind of like, they're the anti-hero type group, right? But you truly had like two groups that the fans are behind. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of like, I don't know how this is exactly going to go, but I did expect the Wyatt Six to win, and they did. Yeah. And I'm happy with that. I think that's the way it needs to go, because I think this needs to culminate. I feel like the actual culmination will probably be Street Profits for the titles.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Right? But like part of me too is like, I feel like it almost needs to culminate with them against DIY, because DIY are such fucking douchebags and like character-wise, right? Like I'm sure Johnny Gargano and fucking Tommaso Ciampa are good dudes in general, but like character-wise, like that's who they're playing into right now. Yeah, DIY. Is the fact that they're just like they're douchebags. They're fucking like, oh yeah, you guys go fucking take care of them, yeah, for sure, rah. And
I think they're the penultimate to the Street Profits. Like, they're
it'll be fucking Fraxium next week, or when the next match that happens, whenever it happens, and then it'll be DIY, and then it'll end up leading to a title match because they've then beaten the 3 other teams.
But what would be cool is if they go one by one, beat all these teams, and then when it's for the titles, everyone tries to interfere to benefit the Street Profits, but White Six still come out on top.
That would be cool.
That would be so dope.
Because that would be dope, because then it would also like
prove a
kind of
point that
solidify
this-
like, hey, this is a group to be reckoned with.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. All right, and finally, I just want to talk about the fact Cody winning the Money in the Bank match to close out SmackDown.
Yeah.
It was your prediction that you think Cody is going to win the King of the Ring last week when we went over that.
And you thought Jade. They're both in the running
That's
still.
true. Yeah, they were both.
We both didn't really solidify on two winners. You said Jade, and I agreed with you.
Jade, and you agreed,
I said Cody.
And you said Cody, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, and I mean, the fucking match was, again, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, there was a part of me that was like, Shinsuke? Why the fuck is Shinsuke in this? Because just, again, not that physically he doesn't deserve to be in it, because he does.
Yeah.
Because he is great in the ring, but just, he hasn't won a match in forever.
No.
Right?
It's kind of like Liv.
Yeah, it's just those things where it's like, all you've done is lose recently. Like, you haven't won, I don't think he's won a match since he lost the U.S. title again.
Nope.
And so it's just one of those things where it's just like, what the fuck? Why is Shinsuke all of a sudden in this match? I feel like there were other people that could have been there, but it made for a really good match.
Yeah.
And they legitimately set this up throughout where I thought Shinsuke was going to win.
Yeah.
Like, there were legitimate moments where I was like, are they really going to have fucking Shinsuke win this? Like, I will be fucking pissed. I'll be annoyed as all fucking hell if Shinsuke wins this match. But they were
see it.
They were setting this entire thing up, though, to stack against Cody.
Yeah.
Which then, like, in the outcome, totally makes sense. But, like, I was legitimately like, oh, fuck, Cody ain't going to win this goddamn match. This is going to be shocking. I was like, this is going to be a bracket buster for Tim, because Tim picked Cody to win. And I was like, what the fuck? But the fucking reversal out of the attempted move steal,
Yeah.
I liked.
Yeah.
I liked that. Like, Shinsuke, like, he hits Cody hits Andrade with the crossroads, gets him up for a second. So Andrade's already fucked up. Shinsuke grabs him, gets Cody into what looks like he's about to hit a crossroads. And then Cody reverses it. And it was very basic, but I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most of the time you see finisher reversals, they're something like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, this was just like a very basic reversal, but I liked it because I felt like, again, that was refreshing when you go back to the basics of wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have Cody hit it and then get the pin, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Cody won.
Yeah.
And the attempted, which didn't go necessarily perfect, but I still liked it, the double Cody cutter.
Oh, yeah,
was cool. Andrade didn't really take it very well.
No, but it was still cool.
That's a hard move to fucking set
Yeah.
up. That's three people trying to be in sync at the same time. That's tough.
Yeah.
And all doing separate things, right? Like, the 3D is three people in sync, but one of them is being lifted by another person, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's different. And then Damian Priest caught the fucking Cody cutter off the top rope beautifully.
Yes, he did.
To follow that up. So it was like, oh shit, but then he reversed it straight into that. And I was like, oh, okay, we're back. It was solid.
Yeah.
Cody getting out this fucking, is that the first, I believe that's the first ever Slim Jim table that we've seen.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Pulls out the Slim Jim table, which I was like, Tim just fucking talked about that. He thinks it's going to happen. That's awesome. And I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I thought it was cool. I was like, fuck yeah, that's dope.
It has a gimmick now.
Yeah, it has a gimmick. It has a theme. It's got its own little thing now. I like it. And part of me feels like that means we might get more tables.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, now the tables are branded, which means Slim Jim, if they're branded on the tables, they're going to be like, hey, we want more tables. We'll give you more money.
More, and the fans love the tables.
Exactly. Right? That's the number one weapon they call for is tables.
Yep.
Right? But Cody's the one that pulls the tables out. And then Cody's the one that goes through the table. I did not see that coming. That was not on my bingo card. I did not expect Cody to go through the table, but I loved that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it was Shinsuke too, I think that is the one that put him through it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
The whole thing, I loved it. I thought it was a great closeout to the show.
It really was. honestly thought Andrade could pull out the win. I thought
There was a part of me too.
I thought he was the runner up to win this match, if anyone.
Which is kind of crazy because
he's such a under the radar.
At the beginning of the match, throughout the match, and at the end of the match, Damian Priest, and to me, shockingly, was number 4. He was the one that was absolutely in no way, shape, or form on my radar to win this match. Before, during, or after.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was like, there is not a thing about it that made me think, oh, he could win.
Yeah.
But in the storylines and everything that led up to all of this and everything they've been a part of, you would have thought Damian Priest would have been right up there with Cody to potentially win
number 2.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you had Andrade and Shinsuke, to me, were very close in the idea of like who, like, could either of these dudes pull this out?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I think that's a testament to the creative and the writing of the match and everything of how they played it out and everything that just happened. I think it was great.
I loved this SmackDown 100%, and so
it was great.
It was good from front to back. So
this brings us to our banger of the week, Timmy. What do you got for us?
I gotta go with that King of the Ring qualifier to begin SmackDown. Aleister Black, Carmelo Hayes, Randy Orton, and LA Knight. It was
LA Knight.
It was such a good match. I didn't know who was going to win that match. And then just the surprise RKO from, I was like, shit.
That was so fun. Like I said, when you break it down in the idea of like if you were in the building, you could be like, whatever. Like we saw that coming because everybody did, and so did Carmelo Hayes. But when you just look at it from what it was supposed to be, it was the camera angles for watching it at home. It was so fucking awesome.
It was, and I was like, he's taking too long up there, but then he did the move, and I was like, shit, like he's gonna do it. Like Hayes is gonna win this match. And then the RKO came out of nowhere, and I was just like, yes!
Well, and I loved that he jumped, and then it cut, and Orton's still just standing. He's just standing there in the ring, like fucking Michael Myers or some shit out of nowhere. Like, he's just standing there, and he just fucking hits it. It's just like,
but it was on top of LA Knight,
and the fact that he then pinned LA Knight, I think, was even better.
I loved it.
Yeah,
it absolutely that match.
That is a great banger of the week.
It was.
Absolutely.
I haven't picked a match in a bit.
Yeah, you haven't.
And so the match was so good.
My banger of the week is it's one person, but it's a 2-parter.
Okay.
And it just happens to be representative of the shirt I'm wearing.
Oh.
I'm going with my banger of the week being Alexa fucking Bliss, dude.
I loved her ending of her match.
That was fucking awesome.
That was so cool.
It was great. I loved everything about it. So, dude, the 2-parter here. The fact that Alexa Bliss won and moved on to the King of the Ring is...
Queen of the Ring.
Sorry. Queen of the Ring is a part of this. It's just the fact that she won because this is only the second match she's won since she's been back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for real, I think it might only be the second fucking match.
I think there was the tag match and this one.
And which is doing Alexa Bliss fucking dirty. And
Absolutely.
She's so fucking awesome. And her character right now is still so good. The fans fucking love her. So I was like, it just fucking makes sense, man. But then the way it happened. You got fucking Charlotte Flair, in the fucking figure 8, right? She's up on the bridge in the figure 4 leg lock, but she goes in the bridge to make it the figure 8. And you think Alba Fire is about to fucking tap.
Exactly.
And then Alexa Bliss fucking catches, I don't remember who the fucking, was it Michin?
Yeah, Michin.
Yeah. Alexa Bliss just fucking gets in and then catches Michin. And while Charlotte Flair can't even fucking see what the fuck's going on, she hits the fucking Sister Abigail DDT, rolls up the pin, and while she's pinning, she's just staring at Charlotte Flair for the 1, 2, 3, and then Alba Fire taps out
right after the 3.
And then you get just that everyone just kind of drops and Charlotte Flair just looks up at Alexa Bliss and they're just staring at each other. And it was perfect because of the whole lead up they've planted so many seeds for this exact thing too over the last few weeks with the backstage interactions between Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Like Alexa Bliss trying to kind of,
I'm all for this feud,
olive branch and everything, and Charlotte Flair just kind of continuing to be like, "Fuck you," and then Alexa Bliss gets the fucking better of her. I thought the whole thing was fucking perfect. I loved it. That's why it was my banger of the week. I love Alexa Bliss. We've been rooting for her. This is the perfect way for it to go. I said last week I thought Jade Cargill might win. I hope Alexa Bliss wins.
I hope so.
The Queen of the Ring
do
tournament.
too.
They need to give her that. Like,
But this,
they need to get. I think it's well deserved at this point to Alexa Bliss.
but this like potential of like Alexa and Charlotte continuing to build like this is so good. This is better than what Tiffy and Charlotte did lead up to it. And this is just minor things. Like it's like the Randy Orton and Cody, just the minor seeds being planted.
It is. Yeah, for sure.
This is just like that. And I agree. I thought that ending was so creative and so telling of the story. It was so good.
Yeah.
Great banger. Great banger. Both on SmackDown because SmackDown was a banger of a show.
Yep.
Belts question of the week. I posed this, and it's actually kind of funny because I did pose this before SmackDown, and this term got brought up on SmackDown.
You did, and it sure did. Yeah.
So, let's rewind back to the 2010s. So, 2010 through 2019, a decade. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore? John Cena said it. John Cena. Who would be your Mount Rushmore of this last decade before the one we're in right now?
Arguably one of the worst decades of wrestling.
It's true. It's true.
It is true.
It is true.
The latter half of the decade
was
the worst half of a decade for sure.
Absolutely.
I have a top 3 for sure.
Okay.
And then my 4th is split between 2 people.
Okay.
And I could not pick. I think they're very similar, and I think it'll be very obvious.
Okay.
First and foremost, the person I have on that list is Randy Orton.
Okay.
He's been like we've talked about it multiple times, and we just talked about it in depth a couple weeks ago. He is the most consistent person. Mm-hmm. He's been there the entire time, like between him and The Miz, probably but he debuted before The Miz.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, he's been there, barring injuries, which are things that you can't control.
Yeah.
When he is healthy, he's been there the entirety of the entire time since he debuted.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's hard to overlook Orton. I'm putting Orton on the Mount Rushmore of that time frame, because I do think he was a big name that kind of helped carry those uncertain years too. Mm-hmm. Daniel Bryan.
That's a good one.
I put Daniel Bryan. It was the majority of that time frame, if not the entire time frame. I don't remember when it was that he went to AEW, but it wasn't at the very beginning of AEW, which was 2019. So he was there for that whole decade.
Yeah.
And dude, some of the biggest, and we've talked about it before, like one of the biggest fucking Mania moments, one of the biggest fucking like video, like match promos, like video packages, right? Like we've talked about it multiple times. What was that storyline of him of finally getting that
title at WrestleMania 30?
At WrestleMania, right? So I feel like Daniel Bryan was a huge part of that.
Okay.
Seth Rollins.
Okay.
I have Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins. I'm not saying it's like number 2 or number 3.
No,
I'm just saying like this is the Mount Rushmore.
There's four
people.
faces.
This is just the way I wrote them down. Seth Rollins, dude's been the fucking arguably the workhorse of the company since he debuted.
100%.
Like, he's been there fucking day in, day out. Even when he's actually fucking hurt, he is still pushing the limit and pushing the envelope on what he's allowed to do and able to do. And he's doing shit when he's hurt.
Yeah.
Right? So, fucking A, man. It's need I say more?
No.
Seth Rollins. My final spot, and this might actually be surprising to you, and I feel like I didn't want to pick either of these two, but I felt like for the decade that we were in, I didn't really have a choice here. But I could not pick between them. And I went Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
That does
I feel like they're
me.
very close. They're very interchangeable. A good portion of both of their fucking biggest feuds were with each other, right? They both have the Paul Heyman factor and aspect involved there. There was a lot going on throughout that time frame, and so that's where I went with it. I couldn't pick between the two. I don't know who was more important to the 2010 to 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I went.
What
do you have?
I wanted to put Reigns on there so bad, but more because of what he did leading into this decade. Mm-hmm. But then I was like looking at the time frames. I was like, I did not like the Roman Reigns leading into this decade.
Yeah, because the bloodline, was it 2020?
It was 2020 when that
storyline
happened.
officially started. Yeah, that's where I was like, fuck. But there was still.
But he had a lot of things going into that, and so I agree with you. I think those are good ones.
Yeah.
So, which is crazy. We only have one in common out of the four.
That's actually super shocking to me. Can I take a guess?
Yeah.
Is it Seth?
No.
It's Daniel Bryan then?
No.
It's Orton?
Yep.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, I mean, I'm obviously good with that, but fucking hey, okay. So then you don't have Roman, Brock, Seth, or Daniel Bryan on that list?
Nope.
Okay, who do we got? So you got Orton.
I got Orton because like we've talked about, he's just been the staple. He's when he's healthy, he's at the top, and he's in the best storylines. I put Cena in that. I put John Cena. He didn't leave
for the first half of that decade.
I mean, he won his 16th in 2017, so it was most of that decade. So,
but that was also like we talked about.
Yes,
2015 was like when he started doing Hollywood stuff. So he did start going part time, but he didn't go officially part time until like 2017, 2018.
But the Randy Cena feud was still ongoing throughout a lot of this decade.
Yeah, it was for sure.
I put Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
She
was right up there. I went all dudes.
Yeah.
Right or wrong. But Becky was one that I contemplated.
And it was hard to choose which one, but I think Becky Lynch definitely was like the one that pushed through. But there was the 4 Horsewoman that really brought the women division back,
Absolutely.
between Bayley, Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha. But Becky had she won the main event of WrestleMania, like the main event of WrestleMania. And I thought, her character was like the Stone Cold of the women's division for sure.
Absolutely.
The man.
For sure.
And it was organic because Nia fucked her up on accident. Mm-hmm. And it turned into this whole gimmick. And it was incredible. And that's telling that I put her in the Mount Rushmore because that was towards the end of the decade.
That was
like 18, 19, 20, so. And then lastly, Chris Jericho. Jericho was a big part of this decade.
Holy shit.
And his character changes throughout the decade, stand the test of time. Like,
oh my God.
He's
because that was the decade where he did like the list of Jericho. Oh my God, dude!
So
you
many
just fucking rung a bell for me. I was not expecting that.
He was in AEW 2019, but until that time,
that was when this question was from 2010 to 2019, right? So
and he was in WWE. So
holy shit, that's wild.
It was tough because I had Roman was the first one on my list, and then I was like, no, and then I just kept going through it. So that is my Mount Rushmore of the 2010s.
Love it.
Fun question.
Well, Timothy, that brings us to Blockbusters. Let's fucking go.
The Lost Bus.
Yeah, dude.
Apple Plus.
Yeah.
I'm going to break right to it because Apple Plus keeps coming through in the clutch
It's
for
Apple,
me.
man. Let's go.
Let's go.
Apple a day keeps a doctor away. Except I usually hate Apple products. Apple TV Plus is the only fucking thing that's Apple related that I actually think is worthwhile. I fucking hate Apple pretty much other than that. Android till I die, son. Anyways, what's the fucking Lost Bus about, dude? Hurry up.
Lost Bus. Synopsis. A determined bus driver and dedicated school teacher battle to save 22 children from a deadly wildfire. Simple synopsis right there.
Just
Cast
drive
is
away from it.
Matthew McConaughey and America Ferrera. Release date is coming soon. They didn't have a for sure release date, but I'm assuming it's in the fall. Again, it's happening on Apple TV Plus, and I just gotta say, this movie is gonna be intense. It's gonna be on the edge of your seat. This trailer just didn't give away a lot at all. It was a teaser trailer for sure. No words were spoken minus a radio walkie-talkie going on in the background, and it's so intense.
If it didn't make your butthole hairs,
I would like
start to light on fire a wee bit.
and just I
No pun
can't relate
intended.
to the kid thing, but like I'm sure
Yeah, dude,
you
it's
can.
fucking wild. It
When
really
he's
is. It's
looking at the
crazy.
picture of his kid, you get a little glimpse of him hugging his kid in there.
Yep.
He's going into an impossible situation in a school bus
Yep.
in this trailer, and I can only imagine
and
that
where
feeling.
he is like, as the bus driver, that's literally your number one job and priority.
taking care of the kids.
Taking care of the kids. So it's like, that's one of those, and like, I'm a teacher. Not only am I a father, but I'm a teacher as well. So it's like, I can relate to this on multiple different levels where it's like, we talk about, unfortunately, in this day and age that we live in, like doing lockdown drills and active shooter drills and shit is like a regular fucking part of education now. And it's like, as a teacher, you're literally just kind of like, my job here is to protect these kids. So if I have to, I'm using myself as a shield. Right. And like, that's that kind of fucking feel where like the bus driver should have that same fucking feel because you are in charge of the people on your bus. That is your responsibility.
Yeah.
Regardless of the situation and how unfortunate the circumstances might be. That's just what it is. And so it's wildly relatable to what I do as a father and a teacher. This was this was one where I was like, holy shit, I could feel this shit deep. So, yeah.
And I can only imagine when we watch this movie that you're going to have those same feelings coming up.
Because this is a trailer. Like you said, it doesn't give a lot away, but it gives enough to where you're like, fuck.
And it's just crazy because, like, we just recently saw the LA fires and how devastating, like,
fires are fucking
and then we deal
super
with that
scary.
in
They're
Central
unpredictable.
Washington all the time. It's insane. So I can only imagine this is going to be an intense ride. I love Mr. McConaughey. It's going to be a good one.
Yep.
It's going to be a good one.
I agree.
The Pickup. We've been talking about it a lot. Comedy is back.
Yeah, dude. Comedy's back. Let's go.
Comedy
we love it.
is back. Synopsis. In The Pickup, a routine cash pickup takes a wild turn when two mismatched armored truck drivers, Russell and Travis, are ambushed by ruthless criminals led by a savvy mastermind, Zoe, with plans that go beyond the cash cargo. As chaos unfolds around them, the unlikely duo must navigate high-risk danger, clashing personalities, and one very bad day that keeps getting worse. Cast is Eddie Murphy, Pete Davidson, Kiki Palmer, Eva Longoria, Marshawn Lynch, Roman Reigns. Release date is August 6, 2025. Platform is Prime. This brings the worlds that we love together. We got comedy, we got wrestling, we got Seattle sports coming together. Comedy's back.
Oh, King of the Burbs got the best heat on that one, dude. That was one of the rough synopses we've had on this show.
I think I read it. It just sounded.
Oh, you read it. You read it. It just didn't come out as clear as you thought it would. Oh, that was awesome. Anyways, yes, this fucking show, this movie looks fucking awesome. It really does. It mixes a lot of the worlds and things that we absolutely love together. Comedy, blockbusters, wrestling, football. We got Marshawn Lynch in this biznatch.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my god, dude. If the cast doesn't fucking speak for itself, Keke Palmer is in like fucking everything now.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. But
she, I know her from New Girl.
yeah, exactly. Like this fucking show. I keep saying show. I can't. It's the fucking King of the Burbs, dude. This movie looks fucking absolutely fantastic. It looks phenomenal. The comedy chops between everyone involved here is so good. And I cannot wait for this. August cannot come soon enough for a multitude of reasons, but this just added to those reasons. So
absolutely. Well, I know we've been talking about Pete Davidson a lot.
Yes, we have.
Horror movies to comedy.
Yeah.
Right now, that's great. And then, Eddie Murphy, just comedy legend right there. And then the Eva Longoria added to that. Just
she's
fits
great
right into that.
Marshawn, we know, is funny as fuck.
Yeah.
And you getting Roman Reigns in this, which is
I didn't even catch him in the trailer, but he's in the cast.
Yep.
So
excited, man. All right, that brings us over to St. Clair. The synopsis for this is: in a small town, a solitary woman is haunted by voices that lead her to assassinate ill-intended people and get away with it until her last kill sucks her down a rabbit hole riddled with corruption, trafficking, and visions from the beyond. The cast is Bella Thorne and Ryan Felipe. The release date will be July 18th, 2025, and it will come out in theaters and also limited release on video on demand. But it'll be out primarily in theaters, I believe. Yeah, man, it looks kind of Dexter-ish in a sense. Is that what you wrote?
Literally, sort of Dexter-ish.
Yeah, like because it really does, and like the synopsis for it too is like it sounds sort of like that, but it's also almost. I feel like it takes you almost a little bit beyond too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It looked really intense. It looks much more gruesome and kind of brutal and serious than Dexter did because at least the original run of Dexter was kind of like lightheartedly fucked up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where this looks a little more intentional in certain aspects. But yeah, I don't know. I saw this and I was like, fuck, dude.
The idea of going beyond what Dexter does. That's what this sounds like.
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
The initial synopsis was like, oh, it's Dexterish, but then it goes beyond. And then I don't know if you remember it, and I never saw the movie, so I can't speak to it, but it reminds me of the trailer of Stigmata. It was like a movie that came out late 90s, early 2000s, I want to say.
You never saw the movie?
I never saw it, but it reminds me of the trailer.
But you remember the trailer from the late 90s?
Yeah. It was on a lot of movies. Like
this is why I have a hard time doing this show with Tim, everybody, because his mind works like a fucking crazy person. God damn it.
And which is crazy because I can't remember anything I did just hours ago.
It's insane. Hey, what did you just tell me? I don't know. But I know a fucking movie trailer that I never saw that came out fucking 30 years ago. God damn it.
But I think what a lot of complaints are is trailers give away too much. This does not.
No, not at all. Yeah,
and
I agree 100%.
It keeps me intrigued into this and just like the recital that she's giving throughout is just like intense. I'm a big fan of Ryan Felipe.
Me
and
too,
so
man.
So seeing him in this is great. So I'm intrigued. I'm excited for it.
Brings us over to Fred, our follow-up rumors and early development segment. We had no series this week to report on, so we're moving over to Fred. Fuck yeah.
Spaceballs 2. I know you talked about this a while ago, but we got our first legit teaser
thing from it. Yeah.
And it's coming in 2027. That's official now. Rick Moranis, Bill Pullman, and Mel Brooks are all returning, led by Josh Gad, Louis Pullman in talks. And so I love the list that it goes. It reminds me of Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire song. Because it just goes through the last 38 years and stuff it's spoofed off of, the original movie. In the last 38 years.
Yeah, it's literally like 38 years ago, and then it just goes through, and it's Mel Brooks, dude. That's who he is. He's a comedy legend.
Yeah.
And he just goes through all of the fucking movie franchises that have come out and just does it in a very comedic way.
Yes.
Like, we've had 38 Marvel movies. We've had 3 Star Wars trilogy sequel, like a prequel to a sequel to a prequel, like so many fucking things.
We have Avatar. We got
we have 2 Avatar movies and 3 Avatar movies in the works. Like,
but then it ends with there's
things.
only one Spaceballs.
Yep.
And then it cuts to Mel Brooks, a legend, and it was just so good. I really, really liked this little teaser trailer, and got me excited for Spaceballs too.
Same, and I just want to point out, because we kind of sped past it, but the fact that Josh Gad is like leading this cast, and I believe he's a part of the writing team as well. Don't know who he's going to play, but I would not be surprised if he plays some sort of relative to John Candy's character in the original. But also then you have the fact that Louis Pullman is in talks, and Louis Pullman is Bill Pullman's son, who was one of the original characters who is returning. And so Louis Pullman is in talks to have a role in this. I feel like there's so many intertwined things now that are all coming together and hopefully gonna make it all make sense and work out well. And I'm stoked for this, man. I loved the original. I haven't watched it in forever. So
good time to rewatch.
It might need to be our special segment next week. Just saying.
I like it.
Because I think it would be well worth it. But yeah, it just, fuck, dude. The original movie was so good. And like I said, I haven't watched it in forever, but I just know how fucking good it was. And also, because we did speed past it again, just in the cast, Rick Moranis, he's coming back to acting after 30 years away. He has not acted in 30 years. I think the most recent thing he's done in acting was a commercial. I want to say it was for like Cricket Wireless with Ryan Reynolds or something. He got Rick Moranis in it. It was something just small. It was a random kind of commercial cameo, but he hasn't acted in an actual role in 30 years,
which is crazy.
So the fact that he that's the pull that this fucking movie has. That's the pull that Mel Brooks has, like, to get him to come back to it. It's fucking awesome. I'm so stoked for this.
And may the Schwartz be with you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. This brings us over to True Threat. Kind of sticking in theme with our wrestlers turned actors situation here. Jade Cargill has been cast in this movie opposite Jonathan Majors. The film follows a special forces operative on a mission for justice after his son's murder. There's no real information as to what character or what the situation or synopsis is around Jade Cargill's character or anything further than what I just said, but I just thought it was worth throwing on here just because, again, it continues to bridge the topics of our show. Yeah. So we got Jade Cargill now making her acting debut in True Threat.
Yeah, and I mean, if it has Jonathan Majors, I know his career is kind of derailed, but he's picking good roles for himself since even then, and so this could only be good things for that. So I like the tie to the wrestling world and blockbusters as well. So
yeah. That brings us to Toasted or Trash, our segment, which we do once a month, where we each assign each other a video. What the fuck? We assign
is a video.
Blockbuster. We assign each other a film to watch. Whether we've seen it or not before does not matter. We just send each other one throughout the week that we need to watch. And then we watch it, and then we talk about it on the show as to how we thought about it, and then whether the person that assigned it or not, we thought it was Toasted or Trash for them as well. So my watch that you gave me was Heretic.
And it's a movie we've talked about on this show.
And that's how you pronounce it, right?
Heretic, yeah.
Heretic, yeah, that's what I thought. And then I gave you They Live by John Carpenter, which came out in like 1988.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
Right? So this might be the largest opposite type of movie and era and everything that we've had on
I
Toasted or
think
Trash.
so, yeah.
Because this is literally came out in 2024.
2024, yeah.
Yeah, that Heretic came out. And then so I mean, we're talking 36 years ago apart, something like that. Somewhere close. So
37, because I'm 37, and if that came out in 88.
There you go. Yeah.
Not giving ages away.
Well, no, you just turned 37. This came out
in April. Yeah.
Yeah, but this came out in 2024. You turned 37 in
2025. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So fuck you. Mathematician me, you son of a bitch. All right. I'm gonna let you go first. How'd you feel? What'd you think about it? What happened? You had They Live by John Carpenter.
Watch They Live, and
if this doesn't continue to cross our bridges,
did you pick it because of Roddy Piper?
You know what's funny? I picked this actually because of our theme song producer, Mr. Nick Overton.
Uh-huh.
This was months ago. We were playing a video game online together. It was just me and him left online that night. It was like both Nathan and Jason, Tony, everybody got off. It was just me and Nick left, still just like, we got a little bit longer before we need to go to sleep. One of those nights. And I don't remember what exactly led to it. We were playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and this just came up. We were talking about the show kind of, and this came up, and he's the one that brought this movie up to me. I had never heard of it before. I had no idea what it was, but he was like, yeah, dude, there's this movie by John Carpenter. It's called They Live. He's like, Roddy Piper's in it. And I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? And I was like, dude, I'm going to have to give that to Tim for Toasted or Trash sometime, because I had no idea if you had ever heard of it, if you had seen it or whatnot. And I kind of kept it in my bag, right? As one of those cards before I actually played the card to give it to you, and finally I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. This feels like a good week to do it.
Yeah.
But you had heard of it.
I have.
You had heard of it. You had never seen it, but you had heard
recently,
of it.
which is
because you fucking owned the movie when I gave it to you.
But it was
talk
because
it
was in this cool steel book and everything, and I saw the trailer and I was intrigued, and so this was a first time watch for me, and there was parts of the movie I didn't like. It felt a little slow. Yeah. The soundtrack I was not a fan of, which is John Carpenter. That's like his big thing. Is like his soundtrack is a big part of his movies. Yeah. And I was not a fan of this one part.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But I felt
totally. Like all around in that entire statement. I also am kind of like, how, because like I wasn't born yet and you were just born, if that is when it came out. I want to say 88 that's the number that's sticking out in my mind. But either way, like you were either not born, just born, or like you were super young to the point where it's like, at that point in John Carpenter's career, was he known for his soundtracks?
You know what I mean? Yeah, like, when did Halloween come out?
Well, Halloween
like
came
87.
Out Halloween came out in 78.
Yeah, 78.
But the soundtrack to Halloween is literally one fucking song.
Yeah, true.
Yes. Right? That was pretty fucking good. But like, so that's one thing.
King of the
Like,
Birds
you're talking about a movie
Yes.
with like a full soundtrack.
Yes.
Not just one fucking song.
So there was parts slow, but it definitely felt way ahead of its time. And there's a lot
I
of
agree.
movies where I'm like, I like it because it's ahead of its time. It's like Cabin in the Woods it's making fun of the horror genre, but being a horror movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this was to me. And so I do lean towards Toasted on it. There's parts I didn't like. The fight scene between Roddy Piper and I can't think of his name. I'll fact check it, but that went on way too long for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was making fun of itself. I felt like at the time,
and I feel like when you really and again, this is one of those things, and it's kind of like, why am I gonna do this? Oh, what the fuck was the movie? It was another one that I gave you. It was Christopher Walken. It was Stephen King.
It was the.
Oh, why am I forgetting the name of it?
It wasn't the Dead Zone.
Dead Zone. Yeah.
Dead Zone.
Yeah, the Dead Zone. It was kind of like, because you said kind of a similar thing when giving the review of it.
Yeah.
But then I kind of threw out the idea of it was like, for its time though.
But I'm giving its kudos where it was ahead of its time.
You're giving
for
this
sure.
one. You're giving this one its kudos
Yeah.
for sure. But I'm just saying, like, even for like the fight scenes and stuff, you think of movies at that point. Fight scenes were fucking like what it was. You know what I mean? Like, fight scenes were a big part. So like, for a fight scene to go kind of long, it does kind of make sense.
It was a pretty brutal
It was, for sure, absolutely. But I agree with you totally that yes, it went long for like today's liking.
Yeah.
But I feel like back then it was solid.
Yeah.
And so that's why I would also lean towards Toasted.
Yeah. And then I what really sold me on just how it was making fun of the horror genre is it threw in a nude scene right at the end of the movie. Like, it was just like you had to get the one spot
that is so
in.
true.
Like,
I didn't even think about that. That is so true.
And it didn't happen until literally, and
it's
Haley
like,
even chimed in because she was like, "That's how it ends."
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those where you're like, why is that necessary? It's not. It's just the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, it's just what they did back then. If there ain't a pair of titties, it ain't a movie.
It's not a horror movie, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy it for what it was, and it felt old for sure. But
yeah.
But
I mean, it's fucking 40. Or no, not 40. It's fucking 30, however many years ago that we just talked about. 36, 37 years ago. So
I'm glad I watched it. I thought it was fun. It started off slow. There was parts I didn't like, but the overall arcing I did like about it. So,
yeah, for sure.
All right, I gave you Heretic, and this is one we were excited about.
Yep.
We talked about it on our show before.
Yep.
What did you think of Heretic?
It's toasted. You thought it was toasted too.
I
There's
absolutely did.
There's no other fucking way around this. This movie deserves to be in the Oscar nomination categories. Like, it was absolutely fucking brilliant.
It was.
It was and I mean, in so many different ways. The story itself, the character work within it, the way it was shot, the just thematics of it all, it was fucking perfect.
There's 4 characters, basically 3 altogether, but there's Topher Grace in there randomly.
Yeah, and I mean, really, if you want to count the Prophet, there's like 6 characters because the Prophet was played by 2 different people.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's like 9 of them downstairs. But still, 4 main characters, one of which you get barely anything from, which is Topher Grace's character, right? Which that surprised me in and of itself, which I liked.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were going to get like this big like saving moment from Topher Grace. Nope. Right? Like, we get him sweeping and mopping. We get him recognizing, well, they should be black by now. And then he goes out and checks in one place, and then he checks at the actual place, and then he checks back again to give a pamphlet, and that's the last thing you see of him.
Yeah.
Like, they've really set that up to make it be like, oh, he's going to fucking, like, he's
going to be the saving hero.
He's doing something, and then it's not. which I liked. I thought it was a really cool little kind of like, it was one of those plot points where it was like, this was completely and utterly unnecessary, but 100% necessary.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when you look back at it, you're like, what the fuck was that about? But you're also like, fuck, that really had me into it because I thought it was gonna be something.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know, dude. Hugh Grant
stole the show.
This was one of his best performances.
His opus.
Ever.
It was so good.
Dude, it was awesome. Just his entire, because it was a horror movie, but it also wasn't a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was a single point in this where I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It had to a point, and I don't like that I'm comparing it to this necessarily, but you're gonna get what I'm saying. Human Centipede vibes.
Mm-hmm.
At like in the beginning, it was very similar concepts up to after he goes back and invites them to go meet his wife.
Yeah.
Up to that point, it was very Human Centipede-esque because it's like these two girls show up at this house and the weather's bad and they're kind of stranded, and then they end up in this person's house, and then all of a sudden they get fucked. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of the same vibe, and so I was like, oh fuck. But this was so fucking different, and I don't know, man. This is one of my favorite movies that I've watched recently.
100%.
It had me 100% invested the entire time through. And it was to the point where I had no idea what the fuck was going to happen. The entire way.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how does this end?
This was phones down. I was invested the whole time. Mm-hmm. It had Haley dropping the book.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I wanted to finish this book, but I'm paying attention to the movie.
And contrary to that, because Lindsay doesn't do in any way, like, I say the term horror, she's like, bye.
Yeah.
And she goes the other way because it'll give her anxiety and she won't sleep.
Yeah.
But so I started watching this because I was like, what do you want to do tonight? And she was like, nothing. And I was like, okay, I was like, I need to watch a movie for the show. Are you good if I watch it? And she's like, yeah, I'm just going to hang out in the chair right here. I was like, okay. And I turned it on and I was like, just so you know, I was like, it is a horror thriller. I don't know to what degree this is going to be. I was like, I have no idea. And she was like, okay, whatever. She's like, she's just on her phone. So she's like, if the sounds are getting too much, she's like, I'll just go to the room. I was like, okay. Because I was like, I have no idea. Like, I was like, I don't feel like it's going to be like a Conjuring horror fucking Halloween Kills horror type movie where it's going to be like fucking brutal like that or like jump scary. I didn't think it was going to be that, and it wasn't.
No.
But there were moments for sure where like Lindsay, like, she's like, all right, I'm going to go take a shower and get ready for bed. I was like, all right, cool. And it had nothing to do with the movie. She doesn't watch that. But then there was one part where there was some knife work. I'll just say that without giving too much away because this is a relatively new movie.
Yeah.
I heard Lindsay start to walk back out in the living room and she was like doing something, and I just looked at her. I said, do not look at the TV right now. I was like, don't look. I was like, you don't watch this at all. And she was like, oh God. And she like went back because like the sounds of it were almost too much.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, for sure. It was one where it was just like, dude, this movie was fucking amazing. It really was.
So
like,
good.
I 100% believe and stand by the fact that I think this should be in the talks for Oscars, and this came out in 2024. So did the Oscars for that already happen?
It might have.
Yeah. So I mean, if it wasn't even
because Substance came out similar time, and they were winning awards.
Yeah.
And
if it didn't even get at least talked about, that's fucking crazy to me because this was so good.
It was really good.
Yeah. So it was both toasted.
Both toasted
movies.
Good round.
Yeah. It was solid
Verdict
all
was
around.
so good, man.
It was. It really was.
Well worth it. I would recommend it over They Live, but I recommend
absolutely.
both.
I would recommend both, but like, I think that
for different purposes.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings us to Blockbusters question of the week. I also posed this, and we kind of talked about this, but it just came up, with Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, it kind of was like this what drove this question for me.
Dude.
So, what's the sequel that had everything against it? Long gap, different director, aging cast, but somehow managed to be genuinely great. What do you got?
I went, and I don't know if this will surprise you or not. So I do have two answers, but I have like one main one. So let me first start with, I guess, my runner up for it, and that's Gladiator 2.
Oh yeah.
Because it was
2000.
Yeah, 24 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And I could be wrong on this. Sorry. It might be a fact check for you unless you know it. I think it was a different director as well. Because wasn't the first one Ridley Scott?
It was both Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott was the director of the second one?
He might have been a producer, but he was tied to
I thought
this.
he was a producer. That's why I was saying that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I know he was tied to it.
Yeah.
I thought he was just a producer of it,
Yeah.
which would be a different director. He might have been the director of the second one too, but regardless. And the reason why I had this one in mind was because part of your thing was aging cast.
Yeah.
There was only one person from the original cast in this. Mm-hmm. And she's definitely aged, right? I mean, it was 24 years ago. She still looks phenomenal. Yeah. But still, it was. I feel like it was one that didn't necessitate a sequel.
No.
So I feel like when they first kind of announced that, hey, they're gonna do a Gladiator 2, I feel like a lot of the fans of the original were just kind of eye roll, fuck, this is gonna be
especially
terrible.
during that time. Time it's just
it's so
why are
many
we
sequels
recreating
and stuff, right? Yeah, exactly. And it's oh god, come up with something original. But this movie ended up being better than the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, okay, that might be pushing.
I think it was great. I do think it was really good, and it lived up.
Really good.
Yes,
it was really good. And it definitely, if not better than the first one, it lived up to the first one.
Yes, for sure.
And so I think that was why I kind of had it there.
Yeah.
But the actual one that I went with, and this is, canonically, it is correct. I went with Halloween 2018.
Oh yeah.
Because it is canonically, it is a direct sequel to the 1978 Halloween by John Carpenter.
Yep.
And which is fucking crazy because that is a 40-year sequel.
Yeah.
Where they disregarded everything after the very first movie. Mm-hmm. And they just followed up with 40 years after.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely fucking perfect.
It really
was amazing. That entire trilogy was fantastic. Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. It was amazing. By was it David Gordon Green and
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride, thank you. It was fantastic. And I think it was one that you want to talk about, obviously, different directors. Aging cast, because it had a handful of the original cast members in it, actually.
A lot.
But namely,
which made it fun.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's what I went with.
That's a good
that's
one.
My number one.
I didn't have that on my list, and that's a really good one.
Yeah, it was a good pull.
That's a really good pull.
Because like I said, it's one that you don't necessarily think of because there's been so many fucking Halloween movies.
Yeah.
But this was a canonically direct sequel 40 years later after the first one. So that's why I went with it. What did you get?
So I had a handful, or three. So I think several fit the bill, and I think I thought of Top Gun Maverick, because we watched that movie recently. I was that lived up to the hype, and so I didn't choose that. And I'm glad you didn't choose that either.
Well, no, because it didn't really fit the question.
Yeah.
It was one that was I don't think anyone, when Top Gun 2 was announced, everyone was like, fuck yeah, let's go. I don't think anyone was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's going to suck. Everyone kind of knew. It's Tom Cruise.
So I kind of pulled a different few directions here. So Incredibles 2, I thought, that was a good standalone movie,
Yeah.
Incredibles, and
Yeah.
really didn't think it needed a sequel. But the second one was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
It was really good.
I agree.
Well done. But then that's animated, so you can barely yes, it had aging actors voicing,
Well,
them,
yeah,
but you don't
voices, but you don't see that, yeah.
necessarily. I thought the Jurassic World franchise did really well, and just coming off of Jurassic Park 3 going into the Jurassic World, it did a great job tying into the previous and being its own thing, but really tying it all together. And I thought that was a fun movie. And then also Scream 2022, which was 11 years after Scream 4 came out.
Yeah.
And you bring back Gail Weathers, Sidney Prescott, and even Billy Loomis to it. And I thought it was well done as well. So there's been a lot of sequels after the fact.
Yeah, man.
That have really pulled, in a world where we're come up with something original. There's been some really good long-standing
another one
sequels.
on its way too, and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yep.
Which we're both stoked for.
Yep.
So that's another long-standing sequel because nobody counts the third one. So
no.
this
And the
is coming
second
off.
one came out in 2099. I
Yeah,
want to
something.
say.
Yeah, because the first one was 97.
97.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's
I mean, it's almost fucking 30 years. So yeah. Another good horror sequel coming out soon.
I thought those were fun questions this week.
For sure, dude. Hell yeah, man. Episode
Cheers.
54.
54.
Cheers.